going on, guys? Justin with the Podcast Dojo. So today we are going to be talking about Eastgate Mall. Now, Eastgate Mall is another enclosed shopping mall in the Richmond, Virginia area. I really definitely want to try to cover all the enclosed malls in the Richmond, Virginia area. It's all a matter of when some of them go away. But anyway, this was an interesting one, so it was inevitable that this was going to be on the list of malls to cover, especially I've been in Richmond all my life, so it's very interesting to me to see these malls that have gone away. Now, I personally don't have any memories at this mall. I've never been, but anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Eastgate Mall. Eastgate Mall opened up in Richmond, Virginia in 1967, making it the third enclosed shopping mall in Central Virginia. The first, of course, being Azalea Mall in 1963, followed by Walnut Mall in 1964. Eastgate Mall was located in the east end of Henrico near the Richmond Airport. When the mall opened up, the anchor stores were Sears and Tallheimers. There was a junior anchor on the inside of the mall known as G.C. Murphy's. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while, but it was very hard to find information on this, which is crazy considering I've researched older malls and found more information on them. So for this one, I think we're mostly going to be focusing on how it failed and what it is now. Also, before we continue, I want to thank Countess Von Rad for suggesting this. Let's start with the beginning. For one, there wasn't much to the mall as far as a layout. It was a very basic T-shaped mall, nothing that I think really made it stand out from the other malls. Speaking of the layout, this mall was built in the days before food courts. Well, not a problem, except for the fact that when they did minor renovations in the 90s, the days of food courts, the restaurants at the mall still kept their old locations. So rather than being conveniently all in one area, they were all spread out throughout the mall. That brings us to the next topic. It always looked old. From what I saw in even its most recent pictures before it was demolished, it looked like a mall of the 90s, which was great in the 90s but not so much in the 2010s. Some of the stores even had wooden storefronts, which is very 1970s, making it even more outdated. Now let's look at competition. There were a lot of malls built in Central Virginia from the 70s and the 80s, and even 1991 when we're talking about Virginia Center Commons. I'm going to use MapQuest to figure out just how far away these places are from Eastgate Mall. So let's begin. We'll start with Azalea Mall, which was 8.4 miles with a 17-minute drive. Then we have Regency Mall, which is a 24-minute drive and 16.3 miles away. Virginia Center Commons is a 16-minute drive with 14.6 miles away. While defunct now, Cloverleaf Mall is 15 miles and a 22-minute drive. And the reason I bring up Cloverleaf is, well, it was around throughout most of Eastgate's life, so it has to be mentioned. Chesterfield Town Center is 18.4 miles and a 25-minute drive away. And finally, we have South Park Mall, which is 27.8 miles away with a 32-minute drive. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's see how these malls would have affected Eastgate Mall. Azalea Mall is pretty close, and that could have been direct competition, but Eastgate Mall was a bigger and better mall. So that's definitely not what would have hurt Eastgate Mall. Other malls are far but affect it very minimally. If you remember my Walnut Mall video, my grandmother said one of the best things about Walnut Mall is that they could stay in Petersburg instead of having to drive all the way up to Richmond. So while that would have held true, other than Azalea Mall, I don't think any of these malls were close enough to be direct competition. Although Virginia Center Commons did take away the Sears anchor from Eastgate Mall, so that definitely could have been a major problem. I've also talked to a lot of people from the Richmond area, and asked them about Eastgate Mall, and I usually get one of a few answers. Either they've never heard of it, they heard of it but never bothered to go all the way up there to check it out. One person who said they went there every Saturday, but most people I knew that knew of its location and about the mall said the area was too dangerous. Well, I have been in that area, and while it seems low income, I never felt unsafe around the area. But let's just check the crime statistics anyway, shall we? So how do these crime stats stack up? I apologize for the shaky cam. I'm using my phone. So this right here is the area around Eastgate Mall. So as we have here, we have like a little, table of contents here. So it looks like there's arrests. Let's see, looks like a lot of thefts around where Eastgate Mall is, and vandalism. And then a burglary. But that looks like that was about a month ago. Now, let's check out the next closest mall, and that would be Azalea Mall. And we all know how dangerous, you remember, Ray and I said that area looked. Alright. See, we got some vandalism. It says arrest, doesn't really say. Oh, let's click on it. Warrant service. I'm not really sure what that means, but anyway, so let's continue. So yeah, burglary, theft, other. I clicked on one of the others and it said like drunken public. We got 2 robberies. Assault, theft, other. So I am going to have to say that while, yes, Eastgate is kind of a low-income area, and theft is bad, absolutely, but at least there's no violent crimes there. So, but I mean, if a lot of people, it felt unsafe there, I'm going to say there was probably a reason for that. But still, I guess really what I wanted to stack them up is to show that it's probably not as dangerous of an area as you think. I just think that word of mouth got out that thefts were happening, and that probably did not help the mall's reputation. The mall did eventually change its name to Fairfield Commons. Could this name change have confused people? Well, maybe. I really doubt this was the mall's problem, though. Something to consider is the time the mall was built. A lot of the stores that were in the mall when it was built are now defunct, such as Sam Goody. Other chains inside the mall, such as the Sears and the Radio Shack, well, those chains are on their way out the door. Finally, I think that the mall was in just such a decline as far as structure goes. Sure, it was clean, but it looked like it didn't change with the times. The structure wasn't very good. There were apparently roof leaks throughout the mall. So do I think anything could have saved the mall? Well, not exactly. In fact, I would go as far as to say this is what South Park Mall would have been if there was no military base or university nearby. If you go to Yelp reviews, which I'll link below, the mall was known as rundown and ghetto, not very inviting. I think this was a combination of the shift in social economics, not changing with the times, and well, just the end of an era. As most people know, indoor shopping malls just don't work like they once did. Fairfield Commons would close up in 2015, demolished and turned into a Walmart with a shopping center. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I know it's different from other abandoned videos I have done, but I want to cover all the malls in the Richmond area. So, I have to say, this mall was pretty impressive. The fact that it survived 48 years when all the chips were stacked against it, I think is pretty darn impressive. Especially when you consider the fact that a lot of malls built in the 60s didn't really have a lot of shelf life. So, pretty impressive. So guys, do you have any memories of Eastgate or Fairfield Commons? Be sure to comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Take care and have a good one.